Good times on everybody. Welcome back to ZSR and the winners brackets finals for the 12MQ tournament. Got Marco versus Tanjo. I got Chloe and new guy to talk. I'm new IT guy, that one to talk. I'm gonna go track with Vey, excuse me, and yeah, I'm all you guys.
Thank you so much. I'm the new guy, apparently. How you doing, Chloe? Can I be heard? Hello? Well, I guess it's just gonna be me for a hot second. Yeah. Requiem start. And hello?
There we go.
Okay,
As
there we go.
yeah, as often happens when the stream goes live, everyone mutes for me as well, so I couldn't hear you either.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
Yeah, Child Start
if you
Requiem Stone. Fun stuff.
yeah, it's always nice to have Requiem first. It's one load off your if you have Spirit Temple as one of your paths, and it's also another free song. So
Yeah,
essentially, start with
also gets one of the ambiguous song chains, or the ambiguous AD songs for normal settings, which is nice.
yeah, exactly. Although the Master Quest Spirit still doesn't have that many hard child locked. I think there's 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So not quite as problematic as the vanilla setting, as you aren't required to have a key to get into adult side.
Mm-hmm.
And there's our runners entered the passwords. We're about to kick off. Let's see where this random child spawn is.
Market. Give us market. Come on, market.
There we go.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, it's the other one.
Link moved into the know-it-all house.
Yeah, that's essentially vanilla. Oh.
Mido Provido.
There's our irons to start. Our light arrows. That's nice to have early.
And strength 1.
And a strength. Iron boots not particularly useful straight away. Light arrows not needed straight away, but that strength does unlock a few things. So we can now get into Dodongo's cavern. Although I've never really been a fan of going in with strength on its own. It's slow. It's slow in vanilla, it's slow in Master Quest. To clarify for everyone, the Master Quest tournament follows the same settings as the recently finished Season 8 tournament. So that is 6 medallions to get the boss key to Ganon's chambers, and vanilla Rainbow Bridge. So that is to pick up the Shadow Medallion, the Spirit Medallion, and the Light Arrows, which is another nice reason to have found the Light Arrows straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Tanjo going to get that Requiem song straight away. There is the idea to not get it straight away, because one thing picking up Requiem does is reset your time of day to, I think it's 10 a.m. in-game time.
Correct.
So it's a nice way to not need to care about when you finish Child, really. You don't have to worry too much about getting back in.
I think Requiem's noon, to be honest.
Is it noon?
Could be. I think it's like defeating like Deku Tree or something sets it to 10.
Well, we're kicking off a song chain here. I think that's exactly the song Tanjo was hoping to find. Didn't bother going into Lost Woods, didn't bother walking up to Saria. Has been rewarded for that by getting a warp straight to her. And there's Zelda's Lullaby. That's another nice song to have early. You don't want You don't want Zelda's Lullaby to be late, because then that just ends up with you leaving individual checks all over the world. You have to find your way back to later. I didn't quite see the hint. Skull Mask leads to something. Tanjo obviously caught view of it quickly.
But we do have a market to roll.
It's Mark to Twin Rova and Ice Cavern to Twin Rova. So we know that Twin Rova Spirit Temple is one of our required medallions. The fact that we've got 2 hints for it makes me think it's either the Shadow or Spirit medallion, which would mean it needs to be beaten before we can get into Ganon's castle.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit Temple in Master Quest requires basically every item in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You need 2 strengths, you need the long shot, you need hammer, you probably need a fire source, you need the mirror shield. Other than the iron boots, the hover boots, and the boomerang, it's basically every item you're required.
Plus, all the child songs minus Saria's potentially.
That is true, there is one check in the lower adult side that could contain your boss key that requires you to have all of the child songs except Saria. You have to play one after the other. Now, Marco following after Tanjo.
That's nice.
Yeah, it would be a bit preemptive to start collecting skulls with it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to have. Especially if you're stuck at 3 hearts for a while, you can pick up a fairy. Now, I think Marco's idea is to set time of day after having done Lon Lon Ranch, just for that extra bit of daytime to get back into market. As Tanjo will likely be picking up that Eponas from Lon Lon Ranch on the way to adult.
Shooting Sun is dead.
Yeah, he's picked up the one bug skull that didn't retain the bugs, so it's a
Skull Mask
Deku
is
shield
dead.
that's on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Faster readers than me. That is a nice one to see. I think that was a Shadow Temple. The early Shadow Temple items are dead, which is nice. That what is the map chest and dead hand in vanilla is locked behind a key in Master Quest. So when you're playing it randomized, you would need to come back into the start of the dungeon to then unlock the door, which is it's just a pain. It's nice to know that you can just discount that area entirely. So it'll be interesting to see what will be done here. I'm assuming both runners are just going to come straight into market to go adult. Yeah, before the Truth Spinner gap, there's at least 2 chests after the Truth Spinner gap. Yeah, Marco making a beeline straight to market. No point in spending any more time, child. There aren't that many checks you can do here.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a child shooting gallery real quick.
Oh,
It
yeah,
is,
yeah.
It is Pathfinder.
It is. And Marco has got it just turning evening. Likely be able to get night market in as well. Means you can't go straight to adult Kakariko, but it being nighttime isn't that big a problem because you can just do Zora's River first to set up time of day for your Kakariko. Andrew's favorite opening, Zora's River first.
Yep. Horse is horse.
Yeah. Personally, I've never been a fan of getting Eponas early because it opens up, you know, small numbers of checks in training grounds. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 checks, I think, that you can get now by heading to Master Quest training grounds. But it's time consuming and there might not be anything there. Forest to Bongo. Well, it's nice to see a dungeon path. We'll see if it's a required dungeon, which means it's on the way anyway, or if it's a stone dungeon. Stone Forest has burnt me so many times in the past that it would be nice to have it confirmed that you need to go there.
We do know that Spirit and Shadow are required today because they are hinted.
Yes.
Sure,
So we're going to be finding a lot of items today.
So,
What we need to do is have water and Jabu required as well. And I think that's every item in the game required. Oh, and Deku for the Kakiri sword. And that is every potential progress item required.
Fountain, OGC, and Graveyard are foolish. I didn't see what the other hint was, though.
It was a sometimes for something dead. Not quite sure which one.
Okay.
Minuet's Song of Time, that's what it was.
Okay.
Oh, of course, it's Season 8. They've got the 1 song hint and 3 foolishes hinted at the Temple of Time. That's Dodongo's Cavern, Jabu, Fire Temple, Deku Tree, Spirit and Shadow. Spirit and Shadow being our Shadow and Spirit medallions. So, inside Gan's castle is going to be pretty empty today. And considering we do have Jabu and Deku Tree required, that is basically every item that could be required for a dungeon is required for a dungeon.
Yep, short of, I think Long Shot's the only one that we don't need, guaranteed.
Oh no, you are guaranteed to need it for Spirit Temple. You need it to even access Adult Spirit. As for Master Quest Spirit, you need to travel straight up through what is the shortcut in regular play.
Right. It's been
I mean, you're also required to have Bomb Trees for Spirit too. Yeah, I went out in the group stages, so I'm remembering on the fly as well. Mispeaked Magic for 90 minutes. It was not a good tournament for me.
Now, was it the jar magic or was the scroll magic? Because I understand both.
This is jar magic.
Okay.
It was bright blue like a blue rupee.
Oh yeah, that'd do it.
To note for people, the magic model for this is still the same as Season 8. It's still the same branch this is rolled on. We do have a new model for magic for future tournaments, I believe. That is Shadow Trial 2 is the Stone of Agony. Which is nice to know. Shadow Trial 2 is even more annoying in this, as you have a moving platform that is invisible, except it moves at an angle. Yeah, it is an appropriate place for the Agony. Actually, if I remember right, we've left the lens requirement for that on. It's such an annoying platform to land on that it's its own separate trick in the rando.
Mm-hmm.
That one chest alone is a lens requirement.
And
We're
that
seeing
was
both runners following the exact same routes.
Adult Lake is dead on the dual him.
Yeah, it's another nice one to know.
Or at least the bean checks.
Yeah, the 2 bean check, so that is the roof of the lab and adult fishing, in that order.
Yep.
That is something that Marco did not do, I believe. Yeah, did not go and pick up Song of Time. So I think that Tanjo is prepping for reverse Kakariko. Actually, no, you won't, because Graveyard's foolish.
Mm-hmm. Which also tells us Serenade or Prelude is in Composer Grave, which may be worth a trip in just to get, but
If Nocturne shows up, then yeah. I think it's a bit much to go that far out of your way for. You definitely want to have one of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be an easy way back into market.
Rupio with a hook shot.
Rufio with a hook shot. This is not old time league. That is indeed the hook shot, not the long shot. Oh, and there's the repeat of the Shadow Temple hint.
Mm-hmm.
Marco taking a deep look at that hint. You know, the Master Quest sometimes hints do need a bit more reading since you see them so. You very rarely see them. Master Quest is not a setting that shows up often. Random Settings League has now turned it off, so I think a number of these players, these will be the first times they've ever seen these hints.
The scale on the wonderful and storms is okay.
Bolero, another song that leads to a song. We are rapidly running through our song locations right now. Now our 50, 40, and 30 skull hints.
30's a slingshot.
30 is a slingshot. Now the slingshot is a lot more useful in Master Quest than it is in regular play. It locks basically all of Jabu Jabu, which is a much stronger dungeon in these settings. As there are, I believe, 12 checks in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It was even in random settings, the Master Quest was weighted against quite heavily, and you don't always get each sometimes hint. So need a careful eye to know where those items are. Marco is going for the song here in the graveyards, and I agree with that. You've got Bolero, so you can warp straight out of here, and right now with a child spawning Kiri, there is no good way for you to get back into market as a child.
OoT is Storms, I believe. I don't think we've seen Burning Yak.
I don't remember seeing either of the hints.
By the OoT hint was in SFM, I thought. The one up near Forest Temple, but I could be right, or I could be wrong about where it's at. I know it's Song of something because I didn't see it all the way the first time, but we know where what you call it's at.
There was one hint. Yeah, there was one hint for Song of Time in Minuet, and the one at the Forest Temple was the Skull Mask hint.
Oh,
But
it's
there
somewhere.
is, yeah, there was Serenade in Graveyard, which personally I prefer to pick up more than Prelude often. You've got Sun Song, so it's basically the same as Prelude for getting back into market as a child. And it also means you've got a nice easy way to get into Water Temple and into Southfield, as it can be a painful place to route in. Yeah, we knew it had to be one or the other. Both of them are going to get you movement you're sorely lacking in. Marco taking that scale from Kakariko into Child Lake. Probably into Domain as well, because there's not really that much we've got in logic. You can go into Forest Temple to follow that path to Bongo hint, but a lot of the items for Bongo might not be that useful right now. Magic on its own isn't going to give you much. A fire source isn't going to give you that much on its own without the magic. Unless it's something like Hammer that unlocks the rest of the seed. Might not be worth chasing that hint immediately.
Okay, well, that 30
And
slingshot's
there's
dead.
slingshots. Yeah, no need for 30 skulls today. So having, if Ruto's letter shows up, that's, what, 7 of the 12 checks in Jabu opened up? It's a hefty number of items. Season 8 did not have any free Scarecrow, so having that Serenade early does mean you don't need to care too much about the Scarecrow. Although the Scarecrow isn't really that useful in Master Quest. There's no longer a Scarecrow lock check in Fire Temple, and you know that the Lake Hylia ones are dead. Really the only thing that Scarecrow can unlock for you is the roof of Gerudo Fortress. And even then, if you've got a long shot or hover boots, the Scarecrow isn't needed. So I guess it's nicer to have than not to have, but...
Dancing Dad has a strength upgrade? Is that what I saw?
Yes, so... that was what you saw? The thing is, we've run through basically all of our easy song checks, and we don't have Saria's song. So it'll be interesting to see where that shows up. It's either going to be behind Jabu, on Burning Kakarot in her time, or in Ice. I believe those are the only things that we haven't picked up.
I've never seen that before. That's
I have
actually
successfully
kinda
managed it. I've successfully managed it once, and never again. It's...
funny to juggle them back and forth.
yeah, it looks hard, and it's even harder than it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there are no hook requirements in Spirit Temple because you need the long shot requirements to even get to them. But you are correct that you can get there with just a hook shot. If you were there. Two of them have
No
finally
big
broken.
chests.
Yeah, I didn't see any big chests there. Two
From
have
that.
finally split route.
Frogs in the Rain is dead.
Frogs in the Rain is dead. If Song of Storms is on Ocarina Time, then that is nice. I did not know you could peek the roof of Dodongo's Cavern from there. Need to keep that in mind. We'll be practicing that after this race is over.
Hey, look,
Tanjo
that's
and
very appropriate.
now.
Very nice.
Tanjo rushing ice. I guess once you see that the Darunia's Joy is... I think it was Tanjo that saw the Darunia's Joy hint. I guess once you see that Saria's might be required, rushing ice isn't an awful play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd do it, but the requirements for Ice Cavern are the same as in Vanilla. All you need is a bottle and a way into it. Yeah, Tanjo is rushing ice. It's not completely off the wall idea, as we do know one of the songs we are missing is useful and immediately useful.
Big
So,
Pose is dead.
It's not the worst idea. Big Pose is dead. I mean, I guess the only way this burns you is if it's Prelude in ice and ice is empty.
Yep. I mean,
because Storms would be useful, Sarias would be useful, Nocturne's required.
mm-hmm. I don't think the song outside Temple of Time cannot be repeated on a hint stone, right?
The song outside the Temple of Time cannot be repeated, no.
Okay. Okay, Marcus Robo. Then I'm 99% positive that Storms is on OOT. So this should either be Saria's Nocturne or Prelude. So 66% chance of having a good song.
66% chance of having a good song, and one of them is going to be 100% required. The other's just probably required.
Right. Hello, Boulder.
And this is our first trip into a Master Quest dungeon. The theme of Master Quest Ice is that they hide crystals that remove these blocks, and also there are boulders everywhere. These aren't particularly damaging, but they are tilting and they're awful in one-hit KO modes. Now this room you just have to kill all the enemies, same as the first room in Vanilla. And just to be different, you do the compass room first and then the map room.
Okay, just heart.
The other nice thing, which kind of makes me prefer Master Quest Ice, is there are no silver rupee puzzles. You just go in, you pick up fire, and you go forward.
Mm-hmm.
We have a bean on Marco's side.
Ouch.
Not sure what the bean's for. I'm guessing he didn't see the Lake Hylia hint.
Oh, most definitely did, because it's next to Lake. There's a big chest
Oh, we
here.
do have a big chest. An out of logic bomb bag to start us off. It's nice that does put Dodongo's Cavern fully into logic. Well, almost fully into logic. It makes it completable.
Mm-hmm. Brutus puts it in.
That is a good find. It's likely a good find. We don't know where the currently in logic bomb bag is, or the in logic Ruto's letter is. One of them has to be available, and probably pretty early considering the seed's been so dry so far. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tanjo seeing the risks of ignoring the enemies in this room. Since we got the strength so early, I wouldn't be surprised to see whatever breaks the seed open in Dodongo's Cavern, so that bomb bag should direct him straight to the logical answers. No need to solve the puzzle in this room for the Skulltula. Not wanting to pick up the skulls does make this dungeon a lot faster. And here's the other theme of Master Quest. Stalfos. Every dungeon has Stalfos. Every adult dungeon has at least one Stalfos. And there's the hint, it's the one next to the bridge. That was Ocarina of Time in Song of Storms.
That's where it was.
Prelude, not the best song, but that bum bag makes this trip well worth it.
Yep.
See, people say Song of Time blocks. That's overblown. There really isn't that much in Rando that's blocked by Song of Time. You know, there's what, 1, 2, 3 checks in Shadow Temple. You can bow extension through one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Part Spirit Temple. Yeah, if you add token sanity, it's a lot more. But if you add token sanity to Master Quest, you're having a bad time regardless of
right
Song of Time or not. I don't like getting 40 or 50 skull seeds in these 12 MQ settings because the developers seem to have taken their truly most fiendish of ideas and made them for Skulltulas rather than to complete the dungeon. That is a required, a required hammer. You know, maybe fire is a medallion dungeon, but we also need that for Spirit Temple. And I think there's a rusty switch in Shadow Temple as well for the bag. Symphony Room is a thing to behold, but you need the hammer to lower the platform to get into the Twin Rover fight, so it's not just needed for that check, it's explicitly required to beat the dungeon.
And that is what Marco bought the beans for, one of those bomb shoes. Does make sense.
Yeah, and if I am right and Dodongo's Cavern's the answer, you know, that's going to guide him in the right way too. Oh, don't worry, Pepperoni. I'll get to explain that room when we get to it. The Song of Time puzzle in Spirit Temple. Oh, Crater has an item.
Hey!
And there's the prescription. Unfortunately, it is the prescription. So the full chain is required to get that hammer.
Yep.
Now it's not in logic because you do need to defrost King Zora.
Mhm.
Tanjo has done that though. Hasn't checked him because you can't get past him on the way back without cheating. He is defrosted for later.
Ooh, that is vanilla magic.
That is a vanilla magic. Tanjo has not done the top of trail on his way into Dodongo's cavern. But I don't think it's going to be too long before he does it.
Mhm.
Now this is our second dungeon, Master Quest Dodongo's Cavern. The gimmick to this dungeon is it's essentially the first one in reverse.
Mhm.
The left-hand side of the dungeon is done first to break the rocks that Tanjo is about to break here, and then you go down into the right-hand side to pick up the bomb bag. However, because Adult Link has long legs, you can completely skip the entire gimmick of the dungeon. Yes, so I can't remember where we saw that hint, but we have seen it.
River, I believe, was where it was at.
Maybe. Could have been. It was a 10 pack of chews, so 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Should be plenty for Marco. Oh, there's a long shot.
Mhm.
If it's interesting, I'm trying to think of what the logical implications of that are for now. Don't think there's too much that long shot opens straight away.
And welcome in,
It's
Raven,
definitely
from
required for
PS5
late.
4. We are in.
Welcome into the winners finals. Yes.
Yep, the 12 MQ tournament.
Andrew heading back to the Poe chest. The chests in this dungeon are very front and back loaded. The middle of the dungeon doesn't really have anything. This chest that Marco's picking up now in Dodongo's Cavern is the compass chest of Dodongo's Cavern. This is essentially the last chest in the middle. The only other checks are above King Dodongo and in that Poe room Tanjo just came out of.
Mhm. And
It's a bit less useful than...
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
If I'm correct, the model for the big chest sticks out through that head, the headstone, right, of the grave.
It does, and you can open the chest without moving the grave, but yeah, I've never found it very consistent, and it doesn't take long to pull a grave. Now, does that long shot open anything for us? Oh, actually it does. That puts the hammer in logic. Because now you can use the long does it? Which side do you need? No, not quite. We still need magic and a fire source to get the blue fire out of training grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is true, Pepperoni. To open the locked door in that room, you do need to kill the Poe. and the pose can fly through walls. So if you don't kill it immediately, might be a while until he comes back. Dodongo's Cavern, giving us nothing other than that long shot for now. Definitely required. Not that useful straight away. At some point, Tanjo does need to go do that top a crater and trail to get the prescription that will lead to Hammer on Begoron and the magic in the Trail Fairy. Those are things that are going to be needed. Having a fire source unlocks a lot more things in Master Quest than it does in Vanilla. You know, most of Water Temple, almost all of Fire Temple. And there is strength too, so it is very much likely that we don't need the strength on
Also, this
Deridia
should
and
be
Gorn City.
Nocturne now, and not Sarius.
In which, sorry?
Wait. I was, for some reason, I
Yeah,
thought...
it was the yeah, it was the light medallion Dodongo's Cavern was. So unfortunately,
Yeah, I thought it was the forest.
do anything.
Ignore me.
No, we need to beat Jabu for that. Although we do have a slingshot, all we need is the boomerang and Ruto's letter.
Mm-hmm.
Now that does open up a lot of stuff for us now. We have a long shot. We have strength 2. Spirit Temple is beginning to loom large. And there's the start of our fire. That's big for Tanjo. Marco may have been able to use explosives, but one thing he can't do is bomb tube bowling. That's Din's fire.
MQ stands for Master's Quest. Master Quest was, for lack of a better term, Nintendo's difficulty ROM hack for Ocarina of Time that they released. The overworld is exactly the same. The dungeons are significantly harder with very questionably complex puzzles.
It's overhated. It's not that bad. And I still maintain that Master Quest Jabu is
no argument
infinitely better. Infinitely better. The Cow Temple is the way it should be. Yes, so Master Quest was sort of additional extra to the GameCube version of Ocarina of Time, which in itself was a sort of additional extra to the first releases of Wind Waker,
right,
which is where I had it. It's also available in the Ocarina of Time 3D remake.
Yeah.
With a 3DS.
Yeah, the notable difference in the 3DS remake is if you play Master Quest on the 3DS specifically, they flip the overworld 180 degrees on itself. So everything is in the opposite direction of where it's normally at.
Mirror mode.
Yep, mirror mode.
Now not just for racing games. It looks like Marco isn't going to miss out on that bomb bag. It looks like Ice Cavern's where he's headed next. Which makes perfect sense with him knowing the Megaton Hammer is prescription locked, and prescription being locked behind defrosting King Zora. You know, it's not in logic, you don't know when it's going to be in logic, but if you defrost him, you can go get that hammer. The question is, once he picks up that bomb bag, when is he going to do bomb tube bowling to get that? Din's fire. Because for us, we now know that the hammer is in logic.
Mhm.
Because with Din's Fire, Magic, and the long shot, you can get a bottle of blue fire out of Master Quest training grounds. You can then defrost King Zora, hand in the prescription, and complete the Big Oron quest. That gives you the hammer. And then you add that to the fire source for Fire Temple, so Fire Temple completion is in logic for us as well. However, neither runner has all the items to do that. Sort of half and half split now.
No, but Marco has the knowledge now that prescription needs to be turned in.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a beeline for that once he picks up that Din's Fire.
Yep.
As opposed to most of the dungeons in Master Quest, the Skulltulas in Forest Temple are, if anything, easier.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an anomaly in these dungeons. And another anomaly in Master Quest Forest, compared to all the other dungeons, is it actually has fewer Stalfos. Compared to, Water Temple, which had 7 Stalfos added.
Good old storage temple.
Fire Temple had 4 added. Not quite, Fennel. Unfortunately, only 1 Stalfos has left. Has left Forest Temple. We didn't lose that many. Not unless they're reproducing. I don't want to think about how that works.
Ouch.
Tanjo's following in Marco's footsteps here. Marco did do these checks with the bomb shoes. Unfortunately, is not going through not following in the footsteps that actually led to items, though, unless he now goes and does Crater and Trail Fairy.
Mm-hmm.
And that crystal we just saw on Marco's side is an example of the Ice Cavern theme of we just stuck the switch in the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
Joe is pushing 20 skulls hard here. Don't know if he feels that the game's been too dry so far. That there must be something on 10 or 20 to answer that question. Ice Keys remind you why they're the worst enemies in the game? I still maintain they're the second worst. Those spike balls from Water Temple are worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a big
The
fan of
AI I
random
can think of
folks.
in this game that's actively spiteful. Setting it to nighttime. Are we about to see a Oh, we're seeing the tree in Lake Hylia. We really are pushing skulls hard.
Mhm.
We have the ability to know what the answer likely is, pooling the knowledge from both runners together.
That's a new one.
Colossus's Path to Twinrova. Which song was that again?
Requiem was Minuet.
Minuet. Well, that makes sense because Saria's
Forest Axis. Yep.
is out of sorts. There's Ice Cavern Path to Twinrova, so the only thing we saw there was the bomb bag. So that is our first bomb bag.
Mm-hmm.
So both of those are leading me to think that there's something in Shadow Temple. Because our bomb bag led to Din's Fire,
Mm-hmm.
and the Desert Colossus led to Forest Temple, which leads to Shadow Temple. So both of our Twinrova hints so far are kind of pointing to Shadow Temple here. And there has to be something that locks all of the other bomb bags, because our hammer is in logic.
So what would be in Forest that we don't already have? Hovers or a bow?
Oh god, let me try and remember the Shadow Temple requirements. We've got the long shot, so that chest's accounted for. We've got the Song of Time, so those checks are accounted for. Yeah, it would need to be the hover boots or a bow. And considering so much of Forest Temple is bow locked, it's very likely to be the hover boots in there. It was Colossus to Twinrova. Everything is pointing around Twinrova, which makes sense because the dungeons with the most requirements are our access to the bridge.
Yep.
That's 3 to Twinrova, that is 1 to Bongo, and the remaining one should be Kokiri Forest to Evil's Bane.
Mm-hmm.
So we should know all of our hints already. We just haven't seen one of them. We can just work out what it is because the game tries to hint every path, every available path.
I mean, in case we miss it, that is still a straight upgrade.
It is. And I am right that Marco is rushing that hammer now that he has the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Defrosting King Zora. Has Bolero, has Eponas. That's as fast as you're ever going to do the prescription quest.
Mm-hmm.
Is Tanjo being told again that the hammer's behind Big Oron, and that's the answer? Frog for Marco. There really isn't that much you can do in Fire Temple without that Marco can do in Fire Temple, even though he has this is going to have this hammer without a fire source. He may have magic, but he doesn't have Dins. Tanjo has Dins, but doesn't have the magic. If you put both runners together, if this is co-op, they'd be in a very good place. worry is here that Tanjo is going to be heading to training grounds. Really be able to do that much, unfortunately.
Didn't even see what the peak was, but must not be important.
I believe it was a recovery heart. I think Tanjo has been burnt in the past by having his models match the color of the whatever the hearts were randomized to. I mean, I have two, but I still keep them shuffled. Marco being told where the hammer is again while in the middle of the Bigoran quest.
Very important that you know that hammer's there while you're trying to get it.
This seemed a lot harder as a kid, even with Epona. I mean, you can get all the items on the way to the Lake Lab and still have 30-40 seconds left. Well, that is if Epona cooperates. God knows she dislikes gates. Nothing on the fortress roof today, so that scarecrow is completely dead. Not that it would be needed anyway, because we've got a long shot, but... What are the interesting items we're missing? The bow for one, so that gives us access to get those hovers.
Also, Marco's
Ruto's letter and a boomerang.
Yeah, Marco's tracker's missing the long shot. You wouldn't mind adding that, please? Thank you.
Really, it's just child dungeon items we're missing. We need the boomerang, we need Ruto's letter, we need the Kokiri sword, the bow and the mirror shield. We have surprisingly few items required for under an hour in. Marco is doing a trick here, I didn't mention it. So the timer for the trade quest, there can only be one timer running simultaneously. So the heat timer in Crater sort of pauses the trade quest timer. Normally when you play a warp song, it immediately sets your trade quest timer to 1 second. But if you play Bolero, that timer is still paused until you leave a heat area, which is just enough time to wake up Bigoron and hand in the eye drops. So there is Marco's hammer. Looks like Tanjo's checking the valley checks with a save scum. Marco forgetting, I forget that every time as well. It doesn't matter how many times I've played Master Quest, I always forget there's 3 skulls in this room. 4 if you include the gold one. Does the valley have anything for us? Tanjo having a bit of trouble setting this up. See, that's
Valley,
fine.
Valley
2
shouldn't
side
have
ups, 2 backflips.
Valley shouldn't have anything. I believe Marco checked it earlier because the waterfalls just did that came out.
Yeah, he did an extended child, didn't he? Did the Valley Lake as a child. Both runners have now checked as much of Forest Temple as they can. So you need a bow to get further in here. I believe. No, you can't get into that room, can you? There is our first Stalfos. And that is why there's 1 fewer in Forest Temple, because there's only 1 Stalfos there instead of 2. The other nice thing about Master Quest Forest is that you can skip the entire block push room. There are extra blocks in... There are extra blocks in here just to make it more annoying and more complex. But the way the dungeon is laid out makes you have to climb that room multiple times. So the game, the developers, to be nice, put a crystal switch at the top that allows you to skip the block push climb the second time. However, if you have a bomb shoot, you can hit that switch from the bottom. I never pick up the skull. I can't do it. Not only can I do it, but it helps me too hard to continue doing it. I don't know if I saw if that was big or not. I think so. Oh. Key. Another neat little trick that you're not supposed to be able to open chests underwater. But for reasons I can't remember, you can open the chest for a frame, maybe 2 frames, while you hookshot. With Song of Time, Marcus should actually be able to go do the green Poe here. With a long shot in Song of Time. Normally that chest there on the island is the last key you have to pick up. As you can't hookshot to it, then you have to do a Song of Time puzzle to get back into the falling ceiling room. However, with a long shot, you can skip that entire idea and just do the Song of Time puzzle to get in. You do need 1 key to do this. As the door to the green Poe is locked with a small key rather than bars. But we've picked up plenty so far. Like Tanjo is going to be picking up those missing pieces of the puzzle. He is behind in terms of the trade quest, but having that Din's Fire is going to be a real boon for him on this. He's going to be able to go into Fire Temple and actually do stuff. not doing the green Poe. I guess he's got enough faith that the item for Bongo is going to be before the basement. See if that faith is
How do you
misplaced.
start the green Poe fight without a bow?
Ah, you don't have a bow, that's true.
I was like, unless there's something I don't remember, you can't start any of the Poe fights without a bow. Except for the last one, of course.
It shows how often I end up here without a bow. Don't think we saw this hint. There we are. Saris is on Burning Cack, which explains why. Desert Colossus from Minuet's path.
So, Shadow is behind Jabu.
Yeah. Which is nice to know at least, because that's two of our missing Go Mode items.
Mhm.
Yeah, we already have all of... We already either have or have great knowledge for... Actually, that's the thing. It could be Ruto's letter or the boomerang here in Forest too, now that we know where Nocturne is.
Yeah.
So two of those items are still AWOL. They're up to 19 skulls. Let's see if he's rewarded for pushing this so hard. This is a lot of skulls very quickly, and not always the fastest ones.
And so far, nothing in Forest that would be path to Bongo.
No, what have we got with the bow? We've got the eye switch in the block push room. We've got the red Poe and green Poe. We've got the bow chest, although we can actually get that out of the bow. And then there's the basement and Phantom Ganon. For winners bracket finals, I wouldn't be surprised if it made you all the way to Phantom Ganon for your Stone Forest item. Oh, that's why he's pushing it the skulls.
Hmm?
He hasn't gone to Child Lake, so he doesn't have the slingshot yet. You might still be thinking that the slingshot on 40s is his only option. Because the slingshot is required for A, hard required to beat Jabu, and B, locks one check in Forest Temple. Marco losing some frames there by dropping all of his bomb chews. The item doesn't grant itself to you until after all of the bomb chews explode, so if you drop all of them, you're actually losing a tiny amount of time. So once Tanjo finishes this quest, the only thing that Marco has over him is having done Child, Lake, and Domain. Other than that, they've both covered the exact same checks. Marco hasn't dipped training grounds, and that's about it. But if he does go there, he's going to be able to do more at once. And it may be awkward logic, but if Tanjo's done enough Master Quest in his time through random settings leagues to have probably put together by now that the hammer is in logic through training grounds.
Another key.
Here we are, back in Spirit Temple. Picking up the keys, seeing if we can grab a boss key or any other useful item before heading into Adult Spirit Temple. I'm not sure I like how early Spirit Temple has come into logic. It concerns me. This is supposed to be the end of the game. It's the one that needs all of the items, so it worries me that so much of it is available straight away, within the first hour.
Well,
You
we
can
do
full clear
have
child now
everything.
here.
Yeah, we do have everything for Symphony Room too, don't we? Or do you need storms for Symphony Room?
You need storms.
Okay.
It's only Sarias you don't need.
Gotcha.
The other thing you need is 7 keys, so we'll see. We'll see how the keys end up.
And another key.
What's 7 key locked in the dungeon? There are 1, 2, 3, 4 chests in Spirit Temple that are logically 7 key locked. So skipping that key there in Child is probably for the best. You have to go all the way around the outside of Child Spirit to get to it, which includes a bomb tube puzzle and a surprisingly creative Stalfos fight where you have to face it on a moving platform. They just took the large black base from the triple pot room in Shadow Temple and stuck that in the room where the Anubis is, and stuck a Stalfos on top. Are we seeing a dip into Fire Temple now? Yeah. We can do Olive. I'm not sure how much of Fire Temple you can do without a bow. You can't get past the Firewall room. But you can do the first room next to Volvagia. 1 up. Yeah, you can do the big lava room checks. Yeah, you can go all the way to the Firewall room. And it's just after that you can't do without being able to shoot upwards through a torch. You guys that haven't had the audio on play in Oculus. And make his way through the Fire Temple Gauntlet. 2 Stalfos followed by an Iron Knuckle, followed by the Flare Dancer. Hammer. Here. Fire Temple's an odd one. In that, if you know the jump to... So the hammer is here, right at the start of the dungeon, and then the boss key is in the lava room. So you have everything you need to kill Volvagia before you even leave the sort of second room. The gimmick of the dungeon is you have to climb all the way up to knock down the pillar, but, you know, who needs to do that in Rando? Just jump, or get hover boots. Even in logic, you don't need to. Marco hasn't taken that Din's Fire into Fire Temple. Might be holding out for a bow before getting into here to ensure that you can full clear the entire dungeon. Or maybe he's just not as confident about bowless Fire Temple. Some of these checks can be pretty not the easiest to do within time. The time can be pretty sharp on them. This room in particular. You need to go up, you need to break a crate, you need to Din's Fire, and then you need to run to the jail to light the torch there. So the idea behind this is you light the torch there, and the one on top of that ledge with Din's Fire, and then you shoot your bow through it. That's how it's intended in the regular playthrough. Don't worry, that's not the only that's not the only torch puzzle coming up. Fire Temple and Water Temple are full of them, although hopefully we're never going to see Water Temple. I do like that Marco did the setup for a long shotless GTG there, even though he has the long shot. One more torch puzzle here, and by puzzle I mean you just press Dins.
Those are my favorite torch puzzles.
And here's the blue fire that I was referring to. So this is the reason that the hammer is in logic. Because we can defrost King Zora with this. Don't need to go into Gas Castle or Ice Cavern in Master Quest. We're picking up the blue fire. Wonder what Marco needs it for. Oh, for... Yeah, you defrost the red ice here, and you get further into training grounds. You are abandoning a few bow checks here, though. Which is kind of awkward.
Unless this is a bow.
That is true, it could be a bow. Oh. Just too tall to avoid that. And it is big chest.
Could be a bow. Could be a boat.
Could be a bow.
A sword.
Oh, but
That's
it's a Kiri
required.
sword, so that's one of our missing items. Ooh, Andrew was cutting that close there. The puzzle in that room is that if you land on the block while it is on the ground, the fire knocks you off the platform. So you have to jump on it while it's rising. Andrew was probably a couple of frames off getting hit by the fire. Any earlier and that was it. Time to walk up again. The climb of shame. Another timed Iron Knuckle fight. Ooh. No left foot strategy quite yet, since the Iron Knuckle is on a raised platform. But now he's nice and even on the flat. Back to regular strategies.
Hey, we got a Busky.
In a little bit of trouble hitting the switch.
Oh.
Oh, there is another big. And it's another bottle.
You know.
And that's another trick that on Tanjo's side that's a bit harder than it looks. Walking through that. The idea is you're supposed to pick up a crate from the other side of the dungeon. Or the other side of that maze and carry it all the way over and drop it on the switch. But the switch is just close enough to the door that you can get off the switch and open the door before it closes. Didn't check the hidden ceiling there. I'm pretty sure there's still a chest up there. Then again, I am currently League Pilled. Been playing a lot more regular than Master Quest. This opens up the Ice Arrow chest, but... okay, it's not anything. If it was something, then Marco would know about it, but wouldn't be able to open the door to it without a bow. No bow has shown up on Tanjo's side in Fire Temple either, so kind of running out of places it can be. Deku Tree is the next option. The solution to the BMOS room was just to add more enemies. We've got 2 Dodongos, 2 Lizalfoss, an Armos, or 1 Lizalfoss, 2 Dinalfoss, 2 Dodongos, and an Armos. And still 1 minute. Isn't too hard when you're equipped with as many items as we are, but you know, if you're set up as a child with a Kakiri sword and a slingshot, then
a case for a slingshot and a dream.
Yeah, I mean it's in logic with just a Kakiri sword. Oh, I thought Sandra had soft locked for a second there. It was attached to the wall while still holding a shield. Ooh, not quite. I think he was 1 hit off.
Well,
How big in the valley is? Roars. Not required, but you know, you're never going to say no to it. Especially considering Marco can now drop Roar's win next to the bow checks in Fire Temple.
Yep. And that
no such thing as getting appears.
Where Marco's going.
Yeah, there's now that you've got Roar's win, there's almost zero reason not to just push this straight away. If you get the boss key, nice, you can beat a progress dungeon. If you're bow locked, well, you can just leave Roar's Wind next to the door that you need the bow for. In fact, you can probably do that anyway, just in case there's an item further up.
Oh, mirror sheet on both.
That's another one of our required items out of the way. Does that open up? Right, you can get up there, you can push the block. Get bombs and Song of Time there. Yes, that opens up a couple of checks in Spirit Temple. I think there's a little bit of Spirit Temple that still logically requires the fire arrows that you can't officially do. You can do some shenanigans with Dins to get in there anyway. But Spirit Temple is probably completable at this point. Without a bow, it means you're going to have to forego... Oh. Just clipped by one of the tiles. Enough to take the shield down for just a second.
Yep. Unfortunate.
Sometimes that second's all it takes. Tanjo is heading to hand in these. Don't know if we've seen him hand in 10-20 yet, so...
Nope, we have not seen the 10 or 20 yet.
Yeah, there's only so many places he can be going at the moment. He's done everything in Kakariko other than that. There's one check into Dongo's Cavern. We have not seen a hint for Baronade. The only hint we can have left... Yeah, we won't see another hint for Baronade. The only thing the only hint that we should be able to get now is Kakiri Forest to Evil's Bane. And that's just because light arrows were in Mido's house.
Yep. Yep, Burrito's on 10. Shoes on 20.
Playing Sunsong, I was expecting Prelude. And, rush straight to... Ah, no. You don't have the slingshot yet. If Tanjo makes it to 40 skulls, and then
30.
finds the slingshot... Was it 30?
Yeah, it's only 30.
Ah, it was 30.
It was
Okay.
the middle one.
Oh, and he's close enough. It's close enough that he's going to be doing that, isn't he?
Yep.
It's going to be unpleasant to spend all that time picking up 30 skulls, getting a slingshot, and then finding another slingshot on child fishing on your way to Baronade. Yeah. And of course, when you're playing, you immediately assume that your opponent did that straight away. Okay.
Rip. Not quick enough.
Yeah, just not quite. Unless you can long shot on the way back, then it's time to grind some magic and try again.
Yep.
That's the thing, I don't know if Marco knows that you can run across there in time, or whether he thinks it's bow locked.
I'm not sure.
Because I know Tanjo is more experienced in Master Quest. Our resident Master Quest expert from years of playing Random Settings League. Now, doing this without a bow does mean you are isolating the chest in this room, which is a very uncomfortable check, because that gap that Tanjo just pushed a silver block into, there is an eye switch in there that spawns a chest. Now that that block has been pushed, the only way to hit it is to come back as a child, which involves picking up all the keys and then doing Child Spirit. And then coming up here.
Yeah. Not the greatest choice.
Need to be further up the stairs to get that. Here is Spirit Temple. I know I did say earlier that there was less awful puzzles than people say. Spirit Temple's kind of the exception. I still think this puzzle's worse than that puzzle's worse than the one we're about to see. The Song of Time puzzle. Because that jump to the hand switch is... it's just unpleasant. Because if you fall down, there's no way to get the box back up. You have to leave the room and come back in. Also, they put floor masters all over this room, so while cutscenes are happening, you're still getting chased.
It's be push and refill there. Master Quest, a very magic heavy game.
A big chest. It is a big chest.
And it is a boomerang.
And there's our boomerang. So, Tanjo will be rushing skulls even further. He wasn't pushing his way to 30 before. Definitely will be now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are we missing at this point? A bow. A bow in our hover boots.
Bow and hover for go mode. Yep.
The thing is, we haven't found our item in Forest Temple.
Mm-hmm.
But we have everything for Nocturne now. There's hover boots in Forest Temple.
Yeah, Bowen, maybe
So for
Deku.
well, we've got the Kokiri sword from Training Grounds. We've got that on Marco's side.
Could be right here.
So, really, Restream is a bow from Go.
Or bomb bag number 2.
Oh, but that is certainly a bomb bag, locked bomb bag. Now this is the infamous puzzle that everyone hates. It's not that bad. What it is there are 2 Song of Time blocks on top of each other, and a crate on top of it. So you need to spawn and despawn the blocks in order, so that it lowers the crate to a place you can pick it up to drop it on a switch. Like that. There is said crate. As long as you don't, have a thumb spasm and launch yourself into the void now, it's easy. You're sorted.
Ooh, big chest.
Another big chest. Now, one fun thing about that chest is... oh, I forgot about this. The boss key room. Master Quest is hard because it points the Gibto straight at you as soon as you enter the room. An interesting thing about this chest, you slash it, it sets off a wonder item that opens the door. In classic Master Quest fashion, there is a separate wonder item for hitting it with a hammer. For some reason. But that is our bow, so as far as the restream goes, between the 2 runners, we are probably in go mode. There's an item that leads to Bongo in Forest Temple. The only item we need for Bongo that we don't already have are the hover boots. So it's either hover boots or something leading to hover boots. And there really isn't anything left to lead to hover boots. It can't even be strength 3 because we know where strength 3 is. I do enjoy that when those chests are big, you can open them through the crate. I didn't realize Tanjo hadn't done these chests from the start. So, I mean, while that is a bow target, the slingshot also works for it.
So we are hovers from go now.
We're hovers and a spirit boss key from Go. I'll put it that way. Because while we should be able to get the boss key with the items we have, we still do need to get them. We still do need to get it. You know, if the fire hours are logically required, we can still finagle our way into that with Din's fire and some very sensitive placement. There's a big chest. More money. Is that hammer locked? Oh, that's 100% hammer locked, because that chest there is locked behind every key. Every key in Spirit Temple is required for that. The Kakiri sword is in the Strength 2 room in Training Grounds.
Yep.
Paradox chest is nothing today. A very tedious chest, even if it is a fun idea, where you have to hit a switch as an adult to spawn a chest as a child. I mean, it's really going to round off the sort of winners bracket finals if if the boss key is in Symphony chest.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go back to backflipping here. Successfully doing it this time. Starting a little bit further up the stairs.
Very
You have to remember that you're not trusting the jump this time is going to move the block. Yes, I did answer. Thank you for asking. No, but really, it's in the Strength 2 room of Training Grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And while Tanjo did go into Training Grounds, it was before he could really do anything. So he's got almost all of the dungeons still to go. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go there after Jabu. Maybe even after Spirit.
I'll fast forward on the video feed, but Marco did kill Lavagia, so did get the fire med. and would have the mirror shield.
Did indeed pick up the mirror shield. Didn't dip before the item appeared. Which I have done before when waiting for the timer. Honestly, the most tedious answer to this boss key puzzle is if it's in the silver block room. Even more than Symphony Chest, personally. At least with the Symphony Chest, you know where Sarius is.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, it would be more tedious in the Symphony Chest because it means you have to go beat Water Temple. The storms.
True.
Yes. The boomerang is in the invisible chest in the northeast? Yeah, northeast of the lobby. Of the main lobby, the statue lobby. And the bow is in... I don't even know what to call it. What is the Armos room in vanilla? The chest, yeah, the switch chest, the one you have to hit with your sword to open the door. Andrew, you got a bow. Just kill him. Just kill him. If there's any keys more annoying than the ice keys in ice, it's these ones. Because they knew you'd have a long shot for this room. What else could they do other than, you know, make it a silver rupee puzzle?
Right.
Here's Marco picking up his 20th skull. He's going to be getting the Ruto's letter. But again, won't have all of the items in the puzzle. The other items of the puzzle are the ones Tanjo has. But with Furora's Wind, I can see him immediately going to Jabu now. There are so many items in Jabu. And you've got Furora's Wind, so even when you do get Boomerang locked, you can just go straight out. You can just leave it and not worry about it.
I don't think you go Jabu right this second. Wouldn't you go Deku first? Just because Deku's completely...
Yeah, you've got a slingshot, so you could. I mean, it's going to be 6.5 a dozen, really, either way.
Right.
Deku might have your boomerang, so it probably makes sense to go there first, but... you really wouldn't be losing much time either way. Yeah. Tandro about to definitely use fire arrows to... was a very overzealous floor master, but definitely going to be using fire arrows to open up this fire arrow lock check. No cheating here. These torches are just far enough apart that one Din's fire won't hit them. And you don't have enough time to Din's fire 3 times before the first torch goes out. So logically you need to hit all of them with fire arrows. However, if you do on the side, you can do it with only 2 Din's Fire uses. This room is
Speaking
a
of Stalfos,
kill all the enemies room. Yeah, more Stalfos. This room is a kill all the enemies. And that includes spawning all 3 wall masters. You don't need to kill all of them because the ones that generate from the suns don't respawn. They just immediately disappear. But this one you do need to kill. So here we are. 2 chests left that Tanjo can do now without having to come back, child. This one's my favourite room because it gives you an excuse to kill levers. This one spawns a chest for you when you kill a purple lever, which honestly surprisingly few people know exists. Once you've killed a large number of levers, a large purple angry one appears. But the aim of this room is to, well, really it should be to kill the purple one, but if the purple one appears and then leaves, it still generates the chest. There's it, there he is. Andrew not attempting to kill him. That doesn't look like a boss chest, I can't see it. So just the silver rupee puzzle. Just the silver rupee puzzle. The chest as a child and symphony left for this boss key. It does pull us out of go mode if it is in the symphony chest, because it means we need to go. Oh no, wait, we've got iron boots. We would still be in go mode. It would just be an exceptionally long and tedious one. We got the iron boots from Miner's house. There we go. There's the sigh of relief from Tanjo. So really now the question is, when does Tanjo go to training grounds? And I would not be surprised to know the answer is after Deku. Because Marco still needs the boomerang, the bow, and the hovers. You know, boomerang and bow are in Spirit Temple for him. Just needs to go there. Both of them are going to be pushing progress for now, so they're doing different things at different speeds. You know, Tanjo may be ahead on items, but things he needs to do aren't progress. Marco's items are on his progress. You know, he might be doing them in a slower order, so I'd say nominally Tanjo's ahead as long as he goes to training grounds straight after finishing Jabu. Because Tanjo will be able to go mode Deku. And they'll both be able to go mode Shadow. Actually, no, you can get Nocturne after Jabu, so I can foresee Tanjo not go moding Shadow. So really, who's ahead comes down to where's the boss key in Shadow Temple. If it's early, that benefits Marco. If it's late, that benefits Tanjo, as long as Tanjo goes to training grounds after. I don't know if Mambo's Mambo really fits as a boss drag. Not going to say no to listening to it, but yeah, Marco heading straight up to... Well, I would have said straight up to Jabu, but if you're heading straight up to Jabu, I would have expected you to go via Lake. You've got Serenade. Philly and Childgorn City on the way. Makes sense. It's Tanjo that did this earlier, not Marco. Is this Tanjo heading to training grounds?
Yep, no shock there.
Honestly, I think it is a bit of a shock. I would have expected him to go to Jabu. Jabu into Shadow Temple. GGG was not hinted, no. It was just a big chunk of items at the time that Marco could do while looking for a bow. But Tanjo hasn't done any of it yet, so I think he checked the first 2 chests were the only ones he could do, so it's still a big chunk of items for him. And let's see. Kakiri's sword needs to... There might still be a Deku hint out there, now that I think about it. That last hint could be for Deku Tree. Because the Kakiri sword hasn't been used for anything.
Hmm.
So GGG might be hinted. If it is, I don't think anyone's read it, but... But one thing about training grounds in Master Quest is it is a bit stronger than in regular play, and that's because while it may have fewer checks, it does have only 3 keys instead of 9. While it may not be as good in keyring mode, it isn't keyring mode. This isn't League. Ah, right, okay. He might go for training grounds after this, but what he's going for is the big chest he saw earlier before he picked up the hammer.
That makes sense. I'm trying to remember what this was.
It's Roar's Wind, which I would expect to see him take into training grounds. Unless he's saving it for Shadow Temple.
Oh.
As is classic, Jabu is filled with big chests. We know none of them are needed. I mean, one of them might be another bow, but we already know that at least one of Marco's bows is just on the way.
Mhm.
Let's see how deep these hover boots are. Because they must be quite deep. They're at least at the pose. As we saw Marco do as much as he could without the bow. So Tanjo will be able to do this a bit faster. The nice thing for Tanjo here is he will be able to pick up the remainder of his skulls.
Mhm.
Which will be useful for Jabu. I don't think he's going to be too happy because I would foresee him doing child fishing on the way to Jabu, which will give him the other slingshot. Meaning, no, you didn't have to do any skulls. I think that's 27 he's at. I think he's skipping that key on the... You did have to do 10, but you didn't have to do the 30 for the slingshot. You could have got to 10, checked it, stopped. That's true, that is true. I can't quite see what that is. It's nothing. This is a nice thing about having picked up Thrower's Wind early. It's pretty painless to just go do Jabu. You may lose some time by not having to do the basement. There is such thing as a go mode Jabu in this. It makes full sense to do it just because, you know, there are loads of items in Master Quest Jabu. It's such a good dungeon. And you're being a bit pessimistic, I guess. Doing the pose. Doesn't have faith that these hover roots are not going to be in the basement. Marco heading to... climbing in Child. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You know, it makes sense. There is a chest that he's only going to be able to do as Child. So the chest in the silver block room, you can get with bow extension if you had a bow, which he doesn't. One thing this is going to do is force him to get 6 small keys, though. Doesn't matter how many times you played Master Quest, you're still never going to hit that I switch the first time. The angle gets sharper and sharper every time you play. He's going to be able to save a bit of time here. If he uses furores, anyway. So Marco had to do this entire section without a bow, so taking the slow way into the courtyard, Tanjo just has that extra bit of item, those extra items to speed up his forest temple. There's the boss key. You don't want to have to pick this up, but you don't really have a choice to. So we know that the hover boots are deep in here. However, Tanjo doesn't know that. For all Tanjo knows, the next check could be the hover boots. These are new checks we are looking at now. Really isn't anything this can be other than the hover boots. You know, we know where the fire arrows are. We know where strength 3 is, so there's nothing left in the game that could lead to the hover boots, other than the hover boots. It's Marco not getting the same jump that Tanjo didn't get the first time. Still no big chest. Blue Po the answer? Does Blue Po have the goods? The back half of Forest Temple is very similar to the back half of vanilla Forest Temple, non-master quested. It's okay. There's nothing really bad. Sorry, Tobias. Sorry to disappoint. Master Quest has been kind. Tanjo is ahead in progress, I would say, but still needs to go to training grounds to pick up a Kakiri sword. Marco is about to hit what is essentially go mode here in Spirit Temple. Still needs to beat Spirit Temple and then go do Jabu and go all the way through Forest Temple to pick up hover boots, which is a lot of things. It's the things that he knows he needs to do in the order he needs to do them. All Tanjo needs to do is go to training grounds and then do Jabu, but he doesn't know he needs to go there. So really, it's anyone's game here. All to play for. They're both ahead in different ways. Either way, it's going to be a long go mode for both of them. Different go modes, but equally long. Equally long, equally tedious. That's not a Master Quest specific thing, that's generally how these randomizers sometimes go. Here's the first of Marco's items. There's the boomerang he needs to finish the rest of Jabu.
Yeah,
And there they are. the small mercy of you don't need to do Van Ganon. Although I think Tanjo might. Yeah, he doesn't have any clue about the Kokiri sword. You do Phantom Ganon here, just in case you need to do Song of Storms. Personally, since it's Forest Temple, I don't know if I would, because it's not like you have far to go.
Mm-hmm.
You've already set up the elevator. I mean, it's just a matter of how prudent do you want to be. Do you want to do Phantom Ganon now, or do you want to do things like Training Grounds, and then if they fail, come back and do them? Maybe I'm just an optimist at heart, but I wouldn't do it. So this is just the awkward things here for Tanjo, because now Marco's going to be able to skip that in his go mode. But equally, Tanjo's going to be able to skip the basement of Jabu. To be honest, Phantom Ganon, I'm not sure there's too much of a difference in time between the basement of Jabu and this. Especially if he's not playing kind and Link's elbows also aren't playing kind to ruin the games of tennis. Yeah, I still don't understand the Link's accuracy in this. Why sometimes it misses and sometimes it doesn't. Personally, this is why I wouldn't have done Phantom Ganon, because it can be such a long boss. You know, if it was King Dodongo, sure. Baronade, sure, but that's because I just like fighting Baronade.
Mm-hmm.
Who's ahead?
Tough to say.
It's hard to say. They've both got different things to do. I think Tanjo's probably still ahead if he goes to Training Grounds.
Mm-hmm. Soonish.
Even if it does involve 2 age changes. Because your child spawn is right next to Deku, so you're barely losing any time with the age change. Probably 50, 60 seconds. Might be enough to, tilt the game. Tanjo's semi-final, the first game they played was, I think, 7 seconds apart between him and Rob Dog, and then their rematch was 10 seconds apart. So there have been plenty of close games in this tournament so far. Being a minute, losing a minute could be everything.
There's the other bum bag.
Because right now, as from now, Tanjo is on a timer. As Marco now has a straight line to the finish. As soon as he opens a chest in this next room, and everything he does from here on out that isn't training grounds is time Marco has to catch up and finish his progress.
Mm-hmm. And going back.
We can see he's digging deep for that Goma hint.
Mm-hmm. And there's a bow.
Also see how Marco's routing is for finding this boss key, because it's not an easily found boss key. The more of these out-of-the-way checks Tanjo's doing and hint stones is, at this point, pushing Marco ahead, I would say. As well, Marco may still have the complete Spirit Temple, find the boss key and complete it, to then go do all of Forest, then do all of Jabu. Tanjo still needs to go do Training Grounds, then Jabu, then Deku, and then Shadow. And I think these extra hintstone checks are what's going to seal the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he sees GTG to Goma on this hintstone. It might make it close, but not sure close enough.
Nope. That was OoT.
I think Marco must have missed one of the... Oh no, forgot to hit the switch, that's what it is. Oh, this is gonna feel bad. It's picking up the last of the skulls now. It's going to heading in to get the
Mm-hmm.
the slingshot now. He's gonna do child fishing on the way, isn't he? Just to rub it in. $29 and $30. I'm not sure whether I want to see him do child fishing or not. He's not going to touch GTG for a while, but that's mainly because he's got
Mm-hmm.
it's mainly because he's got progress to do. This Spirit Temple's not that bad. I mean, it's bad because he didn't have some of the items required for it until halfway through it. Then you could say that about, Forest Temple. If you don't have a bow for the start of Forest Temple, you need to come back down and do bow stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I think is merciful is that a number of the seeds in this tournament have gone quite long. Over 3 hours has been not unheard of. Came perilously close to getting hit by that Wall Master. But this is going to be sort of in line with a number of the regular Season 8 tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be sort of around the 3-hour mark, just below the 3-hour mark. This is just the back half of Jabu, Forest Temple, and Shadow Temple left. Marco is the next person to be holding his breath, hoping that it's not all dungeons for the Symphony Room.
Mm-hmm.
We're all ready for 10 minutes of stick bugging. I didn't even know this was in the music pool, to be honest. I mean, this is just going to be taunting Tanjo at this point. You know, Jabu has a load of big chests,
Mm-hmm.
and none of them are going to be Kakiri Sword.
And this is effectively go mode for Marco.
Yep. There's only one place that the hover boots can be, and it's directly hinted.
Mm-hmm.
He is on a straight line now, and Tanjo is on a timer.
Yeah. I guess the one other place that hovers could be technically would be like TCG. If what was in Forest happened to be the lens.
The lens is there.
Or Strength 3. But wait, OGC's dead.
Yeah, but
So
we
it
know
can't
where the
be-
Strength 3 is.
Yeah. That is also.
I mean, it could have been OGC Fairy. No, OGC Fairy's foolish, but also we know where Strength 3 is. It's directly hinted.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes. It's unfortunate because now Tanjo isn't going to be able to go mode the dungeons he could have. And that's really going to be the decision maker here. It's now fully Marco's race to lose.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even like there were any big chests in Forest Temple to be distracted by.
Nope, just the last one.
Tanjo trusts himself more than me because I've failed to peek that chest many times. And luckily I never trust myself, so I always go and climb up there to check. And I'm pretty sure every time it's been a big chest I've been wrong. And thought it wasn't anything. Very consistently. Never thought about blowing up those boulders first, to be honest. Because everything else in this dungeon doesn't have permanent flags.
Right.
It's checks like this that are really gonna burn him. You have to kill 2 likes in this room. Not only do you have to kill them, you need to wait for them to fall out the ceiling. Meanwhile, this is something Marco won't do at all. Be able to skip the web entirely by just using Din's fire. That's what you've got it for, setting things on fire. Now, the back half of Master Quest Jabu does follow the same idea. There are 3 tentacles to kill. Each one removes a pulsating electrical object thing from the dungeon. It's just you don't need to carry carry Ruto all the way up to the top. It's just no escort mission at all. Just cows. Just shoot cows. It also makes Jabu one of the most powerful dungeons in the randomizer. Because the bottom of the well has no... The bottom of the well has like 3 items in it. Is there any more than that? No, there's the lens, there's the map, there's the compass, and then there's 2 keys. So there's 5 chests, and 3 of them are items. Which is why I never really mind when I see Song of Storms is on Ocarina of Time, because there's just nothing there. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 items. There's 6 checks locked by storms that aren't hinted. Well, and the Symphony chest. The back of Jabu from Big Octo on is also very similar. There's 1 cow shooting puzzle. Other than that, it's the same. Pick up a crate, put on switch, throw boomerang at wiggly things.
Dodge other things.
Yet another cow to shoot. Now the nice thing here is there's no Octorok in this room. He's not here. It's safe. Marco already has done a big chunk of Forest Temple. Didn't have the bow though, so hasn't been able to kill any of the 4 Poes he needs to. Which means he's gonna have to, retrace his footsteps, come back, go back through the same rooms he's already completed. So He's not really saving any time from having already been in here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another fun little thing. Well, it should be if Tanjo hit it first time. When you hit the cow, it rises, and then you hit the cow again, and it rises again, and then you shoot the cow once more, and it opens the door. But the hitboxes don't actually move. They're still there. It's just the cow that moves. So if you know where the cow's going to end up, you can just shoot it and skip the first 2 shots. Unfortunately, it's not always easiest to see where that is, and you end up losing time shooting the ball anyway. Ernie's by far the best boss to fight in the game. It's so fun when you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they don't need to get all of the items on the tracker, although for Master Quest you often end up doing that just because the dungeons require more items. But they need to get all 6 medallions. So they do not need to beat the Forest Temple or the Water Temple, but they do need to beat Jabu, Fire, Deku, Spirit, Shadow, and Dodongo's Cavern, and also pick up the light arrows to shoot Ganondorf with. Now, Marco is about to have all of the items he needs. He knows the hover boots are in this dungeon somewhere, and we know they are right below his feet in the basement.
Mm-hmm. So
At this point, Tanjo needs to rush straight to training grounds to have any chance.
mm-hmm.
And even then Marco's ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And by rush straight to GTG, I mean after Shadow.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he's going to be
All right, let's go mode. So we're gonna
not
prelude
go
out of
moding
here.
Shadow. Which one's ahead? At this point, Marco's
Marco.
ahead. Marco has just hit go mode.
Needs to get
Tanjo might be,
Nocturne.
yeah, Tanjo might be nominally ahead in progress, but is not going to be go moding Shadow. Is going to be stopping to check everything in here, which is just going to bleed time away that Marco won't be doing on his way through Shadow.
And just for reference, Marco is going to Spirit again to FW back to Jabu.
Yeah, did take a trip into there earlier without the boomerang, so can warp straight back in. Benefits of finding Furor's Wind. And it's something nice I like about League, which starts you with Furor's. And is Shadow Temple? Is Shadow Temple going to be the same in Master Quest as it is in Vanilla, where you're one item from go and it is entirely big chests?
Mm-hmm. Probably not. I don't know what items can be in here. Maybe another
well,
slingshot.
We're missing a slingshot, we're missing a bomb bag, we're missing 2 bows.
Oh, that's true. And we're missing a lens. But that's about it.
We are missing the lens as well, that's right. Oh, and I mean the obvious, where there's a second magic in here.
Oh, there's slingshot and Jabu. Okay.
Oh, is that one of the bigs there? Right.
Yeah,
I missed the one that was... yeah, I missed the one that was next to the... in the elevator room at the top. This is the first use of Roar's Wind. You need to kill all of the Skulltulas to open the door. Which, I mean, Tanjo has killed all the Skulltulas anyway, but saves you climbing up the ladder.
Mhm.
So if you're looking for Tanjo to win, you really want to see the boss key as the very last chest in this dungeon. You know, you want to see it on the dead hand in the back, the Bombflower dead hand. Something to force Marco to do the entirety of Shadow and not have the ability to just run through some of it. Because while some of the other dungeons may have extra gimmicks or different routes, you know, Dodongo's Cavern has you do the left side first and then the right side. Forest Temple has you do sort of half of the outside before you ever get into the courtyard. Shadow Temple's still just the same linear route. Yeah, there's a few extra silver rupees in this room. You know, you need the long shot for one of the rupees in the next to the Crusher room. Other than that, Shadow is very similar. Well, there's one of the items. Here's another one. Big orange sword. See, I told you guys. It's one item from Go Shadow. It's all big chests. It doesn't matter how many items you found, how many items are left in the game. They're all in Shadow. I'm telling you, there's a bow in Crusher room. At least one bow. That there is maybe my least favorite check. Because you need Longshot for nothing else in Shadow. It's just one chest in the middle of the dungeon that is so tempting to leave behind because it's so unlikely that there's something there. So you always go into Shadow without the Longshot, and then it just sits in the back of your mind. It's like the Firelock check in Dodongo's Cavern, where technically it's always in logic, because you can go into Dodongo's Cavern as a child and do it, but nobody does, because you want to go do Dodongo's Cavern as an adult instead. Or the Song of Time lock check in Deku, but at the very least you can peek whether that's big or not. It's the benefit of every major tournament having moved to chest size and appearance match contents. Tanjo falling victim to one of the more subtle changes in this dungeon. That moving platform, they moved it about 6 feet backwards to ensure that it's impossible to cross that gap without the hover boots. Because the way the dungeon's laid out in Master Quest is you can reach this moving platform before you pick up the hover boots, since there's no one set way to use the keys before that point. Again, this is the same room but with more rupees. It's even got the same enemies to kill. At least the music here is a bit more thematically appropriate than the stick bug music. One thing they did change is this next room. You know, there's no longer a pot to throw things in. This is Master Quest, so there's Stalfos.
Of course.
More of the Stalfos that came out of Forest Temple. And we're not talking one Stalfos. That's right, there's 2 Stalfos. Is that a key? Oh no, it's a heart chest. Well, that's nice, you get a little refill. I think at this point, if you're Tanjo, you might be thinking, yep, if the Kakiri sword's not here and it's in training grounds, it might be over. You're probably hoping for something like, oh, it's in the well. Oh, it's in Water Temple. It's something out of the way to make the awkward things I've done worthwhile. Because at this point, while he may be most of a Shadow Temple ahead, he's half a training grounds and age changed to Deku behind in progress on the other side.
Mhm.
And it's not even like the Big Oron Sword's going to save him much time in training grounds. It's going to make one Iron Knuckle fight faster by about 2.5 seconds.
Right.
Not a huge save for it in exchange for doing all of Shadow Temple. Although on the plus side, Bosky hasn't shown up yet. This is all stuff Marco's going to be doing. It is required to go into the back. I do hope it's on the dead hand. A, so that both runners have to do the entire dungeon to at least keep some race going. But also because it's the best mini-boss in the entire Ocarina of Time. Like, Master Quest, not Master Quest. The dead hand in the Bombflower Room is the best. It's creative, it's fun, and it's an absolute crime that they didn't put the last key on. They didn't put the last key on that chest, rather than just stick it on the floor in another room. I think it's only 50 rupees that's behind that mini boss. The experience of fighting it is the real victory. The real prize. I'm not trying to convince myself it's the best. It's good, even without the lens. Try to tell me that you're not a fan of dropping a bomb and then just chain reacting explosions all the way across the room? It finally makes the obscure knowledge that the dead hand can be seen underground with a lens of truth useful. It's a fun little fact that is now part of gameplay. Well, I'll explain it once we've got the boss key, because we might get to see it in practice. Essentially, it is dead hand, but without the hands. Imagine if it was dead hand with sort of 15 hands, except from instead of hands, it's bomb flowers. strategic bats in place to make it impossible to see. You can't move the camera around. Well, there's the last key. Oh no, it's the boss key. Ah! Ooh. Oh, we're going to see it in case there's a Kikiri swords there anyway. Right, so we do get to see the mini-boss. So it's an obscure bit of knowledge that a lot of people who've only played the vanilla don't know. That if you use the Lens of Truth in the room with the dead hand, there is a shadow on the floor showing you where the dead hand is. If you drop a bomb on that shadow, then it brings him up without you having to get caught by the one of the hands. This mini boss is that concept, but because there's no hand, you can't be grabbed by it to bring it out of the ground. You have to drop a bomb on it. Now in Rando, since you don't always have the Lens of Truth, the easiest way to beat him is to either use dins to light all of the bomb flowers at once, or start dropping bombs to cause chain reactions across the room. It's a fun fight. I enjoy it. Non-ironically. There's a nice smooth bongo fight from Tanjo. If he goes training ground straight away, then we might see him hit go mode before Marco finishes, but unless Marco dies several times in Gana's tower, I think this one's signed and sealed. Last key. Which kind of explains why the front of Shadow Temple's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw the Truth Spinner hint earlier to say that the front of Shadow is empty. Because of that area being key locked, it means that you don't actually need every key in the dungeon to beat Bongo. There is one extra key, which is used to get into the front.
That is not the song you want to see. I was thinking it could be lax, maybe. Makes sense.
He's probably going into Gan's castle. I think at that point you consider if it's in training grounds, then I've probably already lost. If a flying pot drops a recovery heart when it hits you, it can't kill you even if the seed is set to one hit kill. Interesting fact. It also will set you to one heart if it's on one hit kill mode, which is completely useless. At least until you get hit by another flying pot. The other fun one is if you catch a magic pot while using magic, it immediately drains you of all magic. The key offender for this is the flying pots in the top of Spirit Temple, right before you go into the mirror room with the Lizzlefoss. If you start using Frore's Wind there, then the flying pot hits you, drops magic on you, completely drains all your magic. I mean, this makes sense from Tanjo's point of view because you've only found 4 path hints, which means there's no reason that there shouldn't be... There's no reason there couldn't be a Kikiri sword in here. You've got your Shadow Medallion, you've got your Spirit Medallion, you've got light arrows in Mido's house. It's been a long path, but Gan's Castle is finally in logic. Shield. So, one of the key differences in Master Quest Gan's Castle is that Light Trial now only has one item in it. It only has one chest. It's Spirit Trial that's been given all of the chests. There's 6 items in Spirit Trial, and 4 of them are Mirror Shield locked. So you've got Mirror Shield, and all of a sudden, Spirit Trial is one of the densest rooms in the game for you. There's also a fun switch in Spirit Trial that drops an Iron Knuckle on your head, so... Unfortunately, you won't see it because you can cheese the puzzle with the hammer, but... Forest Trial is the other one that has several items in it. There's 3, I think, because there's 2 eye switches in here that both drop items. One requires fire to defrost. Unfortunately, Tanjo's going to have to go over with Din's fire to defrost it. Also, fun fact, this is my... Is it my least favourite room in the game? It might be my least favourite room in the game. This silver block puzzle is an absolute pain in the dick to do. Every time you leave the ground, one of those beamos is going to suddenly notice and shoot you and knock you out the sky.
Yeah, it took me a minute to figure out what you were supposed to do in this ring. Because I'm like, okay, I see a statue up there, and it clearly wants me to drop it. Now, how do I drop this then?
Yeah. Doesn't matter how many times you've played, you can still get fooled by Armos. They're sneaky like that.
Right.
Now, luckily for the runners, you do not need to do Shadow Trial 2, so that moving block will not be traversed. I'm a little surprised that Tanjo didn't go for Spirit Trial first, since that's the one with all the items, but... Unfortunately, we know that's not... None of these rooms are going to be useful for him. Marco going for Ice Arrow Bongo. For the fans, but as long as you remember where the eye is going to be. That's a fun little thing. It's probably one of the only 2 things the ice arrows can actually do. If you shoot one hand with the ice arrows, it freezes the hand, and Bongo Bongo's eyes open. His eyes open while he starts trying to free his hand from the block of ice. It doesn't actually save any time, because I've seen the numbers on a perfect Bongo fight. Oh look, there's the other. There's the other magic. Unfortunately, I've just remembered that you can't get the other 4 checks, because you need the fire arrows to burn through a web on the roof to unveil the light, so... Yeah, he's going into Water Temple. This is 100% if it's a training ground, I've lost play. There's no reason to go into Water Temple over training grounds unless you are actively avoiding training grounds. Like in the vanilla game, Master Quest Water Temple has 4 items, just the same. The middle of Water Temple is pretty fast, same as vanilla. The back is even slower. Like, you can get the first sort of 4 chests nice and quick. As soon as you get past Darklink, it's a nightmare. You have to raise the water level, do the kill some Stalfos in the dragon hookshot chest room. You then kill Darklink. You then do the river. Then you do a torch puzzle in the dragon room. Then you go do another fire puzzle in the room after that, and that's for 1 chest. And then you have a trip into what used to be the boss key loop to go find another. It's an extra 4 or 5 minutes just for 2 chests. Why my favorite sometimes hint in the game is when it tells you what's on those 2 checks. But yeah, those are the first the first of the many water temple Stalfos. The first 3. There are more to come, depending on where the keys are. Although I don't think we're going to be seeing the other Stalfos somehow. Don't think Tanjo will be playing on past the dot done. This has been a nice showcase of Master Quest, though. We've seen ice, we've seen training grounds, we're seeing water. The only place we haven't seen is the well, and that's because there's nothing in there to see. But while we're on fun Master Quest facts, in the vanilla randomizer, there are 2 dungeons that have had a key removed. If there's 1 key removed, there's 1 key lock removed from Fire Temple, behind the hammerable statue in the first room, and the key in Water Temple for the way up to the top level Water Razor. Master Quest Water is the only dungeon that has actually added a key lock. There are 2 key doors in Master Quest Water, but in the regular playthrough, due to somebody messing up flags, one of the key doors actually unlocks itself halfway through the dungeon.
Interesting.
Randomizer actually fixes this.
Ganondorf for Marco. Ooh.
Central Pillar, another annoyingly slow one. In all senses of the word, because now Tanjo needs to very slowly sink to the bottom. This is a really fun room if you have crate sanity on, because there are about 30 crates here underwater. In fact, if you switch pots and crates on, Master Quest Water turns into a 123 check dungeon.
Yeah. Otherwise called the Storage Temple.
Storage Temple. Even better now they've added wonder items in, because there's 22 wonder items in the dungeon as well. Like this one right here. One of the newer shuffles in the game turns every single one of those into a check. And gives them a nice little sparkle as well. We've got a sub 3, which can be hard to do in Master Quest, especially when you've got Shadow and Spirit required. Yeah, that's a lot of items needing picked up. With a smooth Ganon fight, Marco is coming up to finish now. Although I did have a couple of synchronizers, so I might be a bit behind. With a time of... what does race time say? 2:54.28. GG's in the chat for Marco, even if his time on stream says 25. And yeah, Tanjo has forfeited, which I think he's probably guessed at this point. It's in training grounds. But yeah, here are more Stalfos. 3 more out of the 7 in this temple. We're going to get them in for an interview. I have permission to press the buttons to do so, so we'll see if we can pull them in.
Welcome in, Tanjo. GG's.
Hello, GG's. Thank you.
Geez, so how did you find that one?
I don't know. Okay, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's exactly the word I would have used for it. It was completely bog standard.
Yeah.
There really wasn't that much to it.
No.
Makes it awkward for this interview.
Short and sweet. Although the seat could have been shorter. That would have been nice. I really had to go to the washroom. So you might have noticed I was standing still after Bongo.
I did notice Bongo. I wasn't sure whether you were fiddling with your notes or getting the bottle out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One question for the end. You did head to Water Temple rather than the more dense training grounds. Was that more of a, if it's in training grounds,
No.
might be over situation?
No.
Or...
I don't really play like that. The reason why I did water was basically like maybe it's AD. And I was missing, I don't know if maybe I mistracked my hints, but like I was missing one more path. And I was hoping that would be the K-Sword path to just kind of
yeah, we didn't get the one you were missing, so
okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I like got a duplicate hint by accident because there were so many Rovas hint that you know, after a while it's just kind of like okay, I had seen that one before, so yeah, I don't know. I was basically like I was even like after I got the hovers in forest, I was like I could leave because you know I don't need to do the stunts necessarily. But I was like, I wanted to check the hints by Deku, so I was like, okay, I'll just do PG, maybe it's AD, and then I can quickly route in the hints by Deku tree too. But yeah, I just could not find that last hint. Yeah, it might not even.
I mean, even if well is.
Hey.
Even if well
is.
Hey,
GG's.
Oh, hey, GG's Marco.
GG. Yeah, so my...
Oh, we were just asking Tanjo.
Yeah. Yep.
We were just asking Tanjo how he found the seed. His answer was okay. Do you have any other adjective to use for that?
I mean, the bow location was tough. It was annoying because I didn't want to go to Spirit without a bow because that meant I would skip the chest, the first chest at the top with the bow extension. So that was annoying. So that's why I delayed Spirit so much, because of the bow. But otherwise, Seed was pretty cool. I always had stuff to do. Riding was fun.
I thought that might be the reason that you didn't head into Spirit, because I hate that chest so much.
Yeah, so then I did it as a child. And, like, yeah, it's so slow to do.
Wow.
So yeah, my chat told me that, Tanjo, you skipped GTG even though you were like close to it.
Yeah, well, so I went there initially without magic. So I could only do some checks, like the free checks. And then when I came back to, like, I reversed to get the big chest in Valley once I got Hammer. I was like, you know, I have Deku, I have Shadow to do. I don't know, like, it didn't seem like it would be the most pressing thing to just do GTG there. So, and I had Forest too, maybe. So, like, there was just too much progression to do.
But you could have done Shadow before going back to Valley, right?
Like, I didn't have Shadow access that early.
Oh.
No,
so
Tanjo went to the big chest after finishing Spirit, so just after having picked up the boomerang and bow. So hadn't been to Jabu yet.
Oh.
And Tanjo, you did manage to root in those last 6 skulls to get the slingshot. Unfortunately, Marco managed to skip those by picking up the slingshot in child fishing on the way into Domain. So,
oh wow, 30 skulls. Oh, that sucks.
I'm not sure whether I was hoping you would go into child fishing on the way or not go into child fishing on the way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, by that point, like, Scarecrow's so useless that, I mean, there's not even a point to go talk to him. And fishing's a decently slow check, especially with Jabu and Shadow to do. But yeah, like, I mean, I would prioritize skulls because Slingshot's just so important in Master Quest. So I was just kind of picking skulls along the way. And
oh yeah, I got the Slingshot very early, actually.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, you took that scale
I
and
didn't
headed
really have...
into...
Right.
Oh, Marco did a pretty extensive Child 1 after picking up the scale, had done Domain.
Yes,
did,
Child 2, yes.
Valley. Child 2, sorry,
Yeah.
Yeah,
after the scale, I saw the chews on the DMC bean, so I was like, I got a scale, I can get those chews if I want. So I did fishing, Domain, and I bought some beans to get the chews in DMC.
That was the difference maker. For the first sort of 20 minutes, I'd say, you basically followed the same path. The main difference is Tanjo, in Tanjo fashion, rushed ice earlier than you.
Oh, okay.
So managed to pick up the bombs first, picked up Dins first, looked ahead, but didn't do the top of trail and crater. So for a long time, Restream was pretty much in go mode, but Marco had half the items and Tanjo had the other half of the items.
Nice.
So you'd split apart that much towards the middle.
Normally I would go up to do the fairy fountain and the DMC grotto, especially since there are hints up there, but since I had the hammer hint, I was like, okay, I'll wait for a claim check, and then it's, you know, a little bit better maybe to route it in like that. But then of course prescription's just up there, and also magic.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it was in DMC, right?
A little
that's unlucky.
But,
Okay.
whatever. I don't regret my decision there. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just that around that same time, Marco, you headed into training grounds since you had the magic.
Yes.
And I just picked up Dins at that point, I think.
Yeah. I knew something was gonna be in bowling probably, so just went there before doing GTG. Yeah, waiting
Really,
to do GTG was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tanjo crossed the valley just earlier. Didn't have the fire source, so couldn't do all of the training ground stuff that you managed to do in the first group, which just includes the Kakiri sword.
Yeah, I was expecting letter in GTG actually, because I did GTG very late, and at that point I didn't have much in logic, and I knew letter would open bomb bag. So yeah, I was like, GTG probably has letter, so I have to go there, but nothing was there. But at least I had magic, so.
Yeah,
Well,
that's kind of why I went there early, because I knew that letter had to be behind or before bombs. So like, okay, there's decent amount of checks in GTG, so I'll just go there now, and hope. But yeah.
The other thing is having the Din's fire in the long shot means that the letter could be locked behind the hammer, because you can go into training grounds and you can pick up the blue fire there to start the hammer quest.
Oh, but Dins was behind bomb bag.
Yeah,
magic was behind bombs too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was no way. The one thing I thought about was maybe there is a wallet available.
Yeah.
And then you can do the big Goron stuff. Well, no, because I guess you can't even do it because you need to blow up the boulder in DMC.
Yeah. What was the first wallet again? I remember there was one in Spirit.
The range, in the range.
Ah, in the ranch, yeah.
Yeah, Spirit was annoying looking for the big key and like resetting all the time. Like I don't know. It's just such a chore to find the key.
At least both of you got down to the last two chests before Symphony.
Yeah, 50-50 AD at that point.
Yeah. Oh.
At that point, you still had all the items to do AD.
Yeah. I think I played
at that point, the seed would just have been longer because I already had everything. So.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of tediousness at that point.
Yeah, like I was about to finish my AD to try to find the last hint. I don't know if you found it. I guess Restream never saw it, but I was trying to find the hint for hopefully the K sword, but I don't know where it is.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist because Kokiri sword is locking fire arrow in Deku tree, and that locks spirit boss key.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
I mean, even if it didn't, it was going to be a 50-50 between the Kakiri sword or Kakiri to light arrows.
I mean, light arrow has to be hinted. Light arrow has to be hinted, and then the other hint is probably just spirit or bongo.
The light arrow doesn't need to be hinted since there was a bridge hint. It could have picked Deku.
No, there is a double hint. So I got 2 Twin Rova hints, and that means that the light arrow has to be hinted. Because of the way it works. Like, if there is a double hint, that means a lot of things could not have been hinted. And then light arrows have to be hinted there because they're just in Kokiri Forest channeling. But it's just like complicated stuff about the hints.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Does anyone in the... I haven't seen any questions in the chat. We did have DK64 Speedruns raid us, so hello DK64 Speedrun watchers. You joined after we'd already finished, so you don't get to see much Master Quest, unfortunately. But there will still be 1 or 2 more races. I can't remember whether lower bracket has already had theirs or not.
I think Rafa and
There will still
Alex play tomorrow.
They play tomorrow. Okay, well, we still have multiple Master Quest matches left to go. Let me find the scheduling. Yes, Sunday, April 6th at 7 PM British Summer Time. So that's 6 PM UTC. Yeah, you can Google to find your time zone. 6 PM UTC, that is. But beyond that, unless anyone has any last-minute thoughts about the seed, it really was pretty average as far as where the items go, so I can't think of any others.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think we can.
GG's, Marco.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck with the next matches.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
I think we can wrap up there then. Do we have a place we're going to send?
We're going to go over to ZSR2, who's about to start up a Skyward Sword randomizer loser bracket round. They got about a minute or so left before that one kicks off. So we're going to head over there right before it begins so you can be able to catch it from the beginning. So thank you both for a great race watch. Thank you everyone who came out to help out. Thank you for everyone in chat for coming in to watch. And thank you to DK64 for that raid right there at the end. Sorry, it's going to be, not the best. But hey, we're going to go right over to something that's starting. So that should be good. All right. But yeah, have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.